back. Thank you for staying tuned. This is our second conversation for this morning, and it's all about the educational scientific solutions, or education squared.
Squared.
Right.
Not too
nice. And we're joined on set by director of that organization, Mr. Orlando Medina, as well as an assistant/instructor, Natalie Konorki. I'm sure I can pronounce that wrong. And last but not least, Mr. Jamir Alaya, who's also who's an instructor in this case, and they're all from this organization. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I remember you guys were here last year.
Yeah, we were here last year. We were promoting, well, the first time we went really big with our camp. I've been doing it for the past, this will be the fourth time. But the first two times were kind of small, on a smaller scale.
Just let's establish the name of the organization. Let's start.
It's Educational Scientific Solutions, which is something I started when I moved away from being a career teacher to doing my own thing. Referred to as ES squared.
Yes,
because I'm a math person too.
Okay, there you go. So what is ES squared?
It's a organization, or is something that I started to promote science education. You know, I've been a career science teacher, mathematics and science teacher. So when I moved away from that full time, I put all my knowledge and skills, what I learned throughout the years, into, my passion. So I left a job to pursue a passion, which is science education.
And still very much connected to what your career was at the time.
Yes, and
I want to ask how it has grown since the first year. You mentioned this is the fourth, and last year was exceptionally large when we saw the interest in students finding summer programs to take part in, particularly associated with STEAM. How has it grown since then? Yeah,
the first year when we did it, we had only a small audience of students. The idea was to get them involved with science education, where we incorporate the mathematics, the importance of the connection with mathematics. Of course, that evolved into what is branded as STEAM.
Yeah.
What is STEAM really is, it's a form of education where we use the model of what we call design thinking as part of it, right? The design thinking is the engineering aspect of it. But to do that, we need to know science, we need to know math. We have to incorporate creativity, where the art comes in, and it's all done to improve technology. See, we use technology every day. The idea is for us to understand it so that we can improve it, and then perhaps move on to designing new technologies.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Well, it's important for our children to start with that level of thinking from an early age. And so that's the key purpose behind.
For most of us, we begin and we end at the using stage where technology is concerned.
Exactly.
We use it, and that's all we do for the rest of our lives.
So it goes on to trying to understand it, and then to look at how we can improve it.
So what's the age range here? I gather it's children.
Yeah, it's children. So I have worked with, it's 8 to 12. Okay. So this is my opportunity to work with smaller kids, which I had the opportunity when I had an experience working at the Ministry of Education. But my career has spanned all levels.
Yeah. Well, it's no wonder why these remind me of things I would make as a child. But I'm sure they're functional. They have a purpose. Yeah. Maybe Natalie could jump in the conversation. Just tell us a bit about your experience with this organization.
All right, so last summer we had the same STEAM program. It was a low turn, well, not that much of a high turnout. We had about 45 students, if I'm correct. Yeah.
It's not high, just 45.
Not as much as compared to how much we want this year.
Okay.
So this year we want about 80 students. That's the max. Last year we had like 45 students. What I noticed from last year's program, the students were very engaged. They brought different ideas to the table, and some of them ended up like portraying these ideas and helping their friends to think like how they do. They brought out things that we didn't think that they could brought out. So like just having them come to the program, it's like really bringing out stuff that they didn't even know that they had in them as well.
How do you go about making science and maths fun and engaging? Because well, just in high school and even primary school, I'm thinking, science again or maths,
Yeah.
man, this just be a boring class.
That's because
Either,
you were destined for English.
either talk through it or sleep through it. Either one.
Yeah,
It's you
so-
make it interactive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how
you
do you
make
do
it
that?
interactive. Like when people hear science, most of the time they're like,
Yeah.
But what we try to do, we try to do hands-on activities like projects. Little kids, like from 8 to 12, they love creating projects, putting their ideas. Like these were one of the models we made last year. It's supposed to be a balloon car. They blow into it, and it's supposed to move, and it's something very
okay.
competitive for the students as well. You know, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, they like to be very competitive. Like, who will win? I will come in first. So this is something that you know they might see as just fun, but to us, they're actually thinking, and they're like, oh, this is why my car isn't working. Maybe because I need a different wheel. Maybe because I need this or that. So it really allows them to think.
So you guys are hoping for roughly around 80 or so students this year.
At max, yeah.
What's the nature of how the summer program is set up? Do you go in and you learn everything, or do you get to choose what you'd like to focus on?
Okay, so
We-
for so for this summer program, what we want to do, we want to expose the children to a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So as let's say John goes in, John will get an experience with science, technology, expressive arts, math. He'll get an exposure to all of those. It's not just, oh, I want John to do math and science. John will get an exposure to all of those different subjects.
I have to ask both of you guys, because you look young, and you guys are instructors as well in
Correct.
the summer program. Where did your interest in being a part of this come from?
Go ahead.
Let's go,
Jamil.
Jamir.
Thank you. So I would venture to say, well, this is my first year in the program, because I know Mr. Medina, he taught me. Excellent
okay.
teacher, yeah. And yeah, so my part in this, before I get into that, let me tell you about my expertise and what I do. I do martial arts. They also Shotokan. I've been there for 8 years, and I've been working with kids, and I love working with kids. You know, it's a very fun experience for me. You know, and I always want to give them some sort of knowledge and assist them in some sort of way. So my part in this would be to assist on Fridays, fun day. You
Okay.
know, so they could get away from everything. You know, so
I
I'll
like
be
that.
basically teaching them physical fitness and a little bit of self-defense. And after each class, I'll be giving them a motivational speech. See where their mindset is at. You know.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and again, I've been doing it for 8 years, and I love it, and it's a way of life for me now. So
Well, that's an incredible component. added
Yeah.
Yeah,
to your
these are,
program.
we have a sample because we have our art instructor too, Ms. Shahira Young. She's our art instructor. As Natalie said, we try to have the students do, well, they're going to do a little bit of everything. We have it structured so that we change it a little bit from last year as you learn as you go along.
Yeah.
So they're doing rotations Monday and Wednesday. We have groups that are going to be switching between math and science and art and technology. And then, you know, Tuesday, Thursdays, we have them, the other group switch up. So
Yeah.
they'll be doing the Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday type of slots there.
Now,
So
how-
yes, they get to do everything.
Now, how many instructors do you have roughly?
We have
dealing with
in
80
our
kids?
staff is about six, seven, because we have the other two other ladies that are joining us, Miss Serena Reyes, Shahira Young, Natalie, and then we have 4 gentlemen. Yeah, so seven.
Total, yeah,
seven
four.
of us.
Where did your interest come from? For
Well,
this?
in high school, I was a science student. I've always naturally had a passion for science, so I know like the importance of incorporating these hands-on activities. Then moving on to junior college, I majored in biology, and now I'm actually a pharmacy student myself. So I've always had that passion, that growing passion for science. So I know the need of these hands-on activities. So. Yeah.
What has your academic journey taught you about the importance of science?
Well, science, we need it in all aspects, and not only science, we need those other subjects as well. Like we need the arts, we need the math, so we need to have a better understanding of all of these in order to grasp the concept of science.
And to be a well-rounded
Yeah.
student as well, right?
Yep.
So the program, when does it begin?
Yeah.
Where are you hosting it?
Yeah, we're hosting it right at EPR again. Excellent
Yeah.
compound, you know, security is there, you know, it is closed, and so it's an ideal location. It runs from July the 7th to August the 1st, 4 weeks. So like Jamir said, Monday to Thursday, it's the we do the classes them, and
Yeah.
Friday is like
fun
where they get to do sports and
Activities, physical
like
activities,
karate.
yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
Fantastic.
entire month of activities.
Yeah.
And it's in the first half of the day, so 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 hours.
Yeah.
As again, we don't want them to feel like they're at school, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit of
I
fun
think that's
time.
important.
Yeah.
Because it's summer.
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
So you
you know.
want them to.
So the real planning comes into when we're infusing these concepts, you know, mathematics and science.
Yeah.
But the real fun as an educator comes in when you listen to the conversations they have when they're designing these things, and oh, you know, I think we should do this, or I think we should do that, or it should be wider, or you know, and you know, the idea is, again, that's what we're trying to promote, and that's the engineering aspect of it, you know, design thinking. They look at it and they design, oh, there's some flaw in the structure, it didn't work well, so I'll go back and I'll say, you know what, let me do this, let me make this shorter or longer, whatever.
What was the challenge here, or what
With
was
that
the
one,
task
yeah.
with these
The
two?
task was the first one was to design a car
Yeah, that makes sense.
that will be powered by the balloon. And
You,
so
you
what
gave them a
find-
blueprint, like how
we
to,
gave
what
them,
to do.
yeah, like a little, you know, idea as to how to do it. You don't want to go too much,
Yeah.
guys. You want them to bring
Correct.
out the creativity.
How about that one?
Yeah, this one was a rocket.
Ah.
And yes, it kind of lost some of its components them from
okay.
last year to this year, but it had its wings and then it had a cone. But even some of them might tell you know what, they want to try it without the cone and see how it works, and then they do the cone, and then so on, they try to make the cone longer. All kind of things that some of them decided that this was too short, they made this too short, this part here, and so when we put the fuel is baking soda and vinegar, which is
Oh.
a chemistry aspect.
Yeah.
So you notice it's a little bit that really for me is what it's about.
Yeah.
You see, you have the science involved, then they're thinking about the length and so forth, and the size of the wings, you know, should it be triangular or whatever, the shape, the mathematics, you know, and then the technology aspect of designing it so that it's more aerodynamic.
Jamir, let me just ask for you, why do you think it's important to have this physical, mental balance in your life as a young person?
Because again, when you're conditioning in the man, it's not only academically and spiritually and emotionally, it's also physically. And your physical aspect plays a tremendous role in your mental health. So I do want to, and again, it's just one day, I do want them to have exposure of how it feels to like put in physical work, because it also connects with your man, you know, your man and body is one, you know, they work together. So I would venture to say it's a must. It's a must, and again, it's gonna be fun. It's not gonna be all hard work. You know, we're gonna
You're
we're
gonna
gonna
do
have some
50
fun.
push-ups.
Only 25.
Maybe.
But for me, the components always have to be there, and as
Yes,
you go
yes,
along,
sir.
we improve.
Correct.
You know, the physical for the physical aspect goes
Yes.
along with it, but also the aspect of the kids communicating, developing critical thinking. You know,
How are you able
collaboration.
to identify when a child is learning?
We there's ways to assess without the formal ways.
Yeah, like
you know, your
quiz or
simple
test.
questions. You just ask. You know, you ask them. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's assessment right there.
Yeah.
When you know how can you improve people education? Well, that's how we design questions. But then it can be done right there when they're in the process of doing their design.
Yeah, and I believe they still have like 2 weeks to apply, right?
Yes.
Yes. So yes, let's get there. Thank you, Jamir. You should take over this interview and ask the question. How do you go about applying, and how much time do we have left before?
Yeah, it's-
Also the fee.
application
We
is
did see it
closed.
on the flyer, but
Yeah,
just
the fee is $250 for the for the 4 weeks there. It, like I said, it encompasses a little bit of everything. That's the main thing with our camp. You know, it's just focusing on one thing, and the child gets a chance, the way how it's structured, for them to do everything, right? So they get to experience this. For me, that's why I call it the experience. You know, science experience, or we may use the word explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and so they get to register. Really, it's simple. You on the form there on the flyer, you have a QR code. You
Okay.
scan that QR code, takes you to a Google form where we get the information, your information,
QR
your
code.
contact
Yeah.
information, scan that, takes you right to a Google form, and then you fill in information and make the payment. And everything is done right there, and we get the record of the information and all of that.
Yeah. Then also to add, if you don't have a child or anything, you could also support for one.
Sponsor a child.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So for our viewers, those interested, that's the QR code right there. You could actually take out your phone right now if you're watching, and you could scan that
That's
QR
our
code.
little crew from last year.
Yeah, there you go. And you'll get the Google form where you could register your child for what appears to be a very excellent
And it
program.
says if you register early, you also get the $10
the early,
waived.
the early was last, I think Saturday was the last.
Okay.
But you could always,
Where can we find you for more information?
we are,
But Facebook, you can follow us on our Facebook page, STEAM Summer Explosion 2.0. As the assistant, I'll be posting videos, pictures, so that not only the parents are updated on what their kids are doing, but the wider community as well. So
All right.
definitely
Fantastic.
check us
Well,
out.
this has been a wonderful conversation. It's a pleasure having you guys back, and
thank
we hope
you
you
for
get
having us
to
here too.
get a lot of kids this summer as well. Sounds fun.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank
We
you.
take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we have loads of more insightful conversation to look forward to.